Hi there, welcome back to my channel. My name is Vera, and in today's video I'm going to be doing a flip through of my 2022 bullet journal, and I'm super excited to show you how it turned out this year. Alrighty, let's get into it. This is my 2022 part 2 bullet journal. It is a B6 archer&olive blackout journal, and it was my first time ever using a blackout journal as well as a B6 journal. I will be doing a review on this journal later on, so be sure to check that video out. But for the moment, let's have a look at the last 4 months of 2022 in this bullet journal. The theme that I went with in this journal was a coral theme, so you'll see a lot of motifs repeating themselves throughout the entire journal. On the first page, I did some acrylograph swatches from Archer&Olive. The reason I did this at the beginning was actually because I didn't know what I was going to use this journal for when I first got it. It was a journal from one of the subscription boxes. I believe it was from the first one or the second one. Looking at this one, I reckon it's the first one. And at first I thought maybe I would use it for practicing calligraphy, as you can see here. But I ended up cutting out a few pages because I did use it for different things at the beginning, and I turned it into my 2022 part 2 journal. So this is what my first page looks like. It is my cover page. I absolutely love how this turned out. You can see the little bubbles and the coral theme motif that will appear throughout this entire video. Here is my future log, and you can see that I used it for September, October, November, and December. As you can see, I didn't really use my future log all that much for the last 4 months. I did have an A4 bullet journal for the first 8 months of the year, and then it wasn't enough for the last 4. And if you want to check out that flip through, you can click right over here. Next on, we have the goals that I had for 2022, or for the last part of 2022, and I didn't quite succeed with some of them, but I did get becoming a dive master, getting monetized on YouTube, and getting a new job for 2023. So 3 things that I have done so far, which I'm pretty happy because they are big ones. Then we have my grid spacing cheat sheet. I do use this, but not as much as I think I would. I use mainly just the number part, and then I count anyway. Here is my September theme, and again, a coral theme. This is my favorite cover page to date. I absolutely love how it turned out. I went with a vertical calendar spread or monthly log. It's a repeating one. I really enjoy using a vertical one nowadays. I don't know why or how that change happened, but I really enjoy it. We have some focus sections for the month of September, which I ended up using for the rest of the year, but I just consolidated everything in September. I also have some habits that I wanted to do, and as you can see, I didn't really stick with a lot of them. I'm successful with the no meat one, and I tracked the days where I washed my hair, but a lot of the habits I kind of fell short. We then have my tasks and things to do for week 35 and week 36. I used a very simple spread where I had events on the side and then tasks that I could write. I have little keys where I color them in to say I've completed them, half colored when it's half done, and then my graded tasks as well, or cancelled, as you can see. Week 37 and week 38, as you can see, I changed the events section and put it at the top. Again, I still have the columns for tasks, and I have them as little days of the week here, so I know which day I need to do each task. Again, with lots of coral down the bottom. I also started doing some dots in my coral, and that will be a theme that's coming back later on in this channel. We then have my week 39, and as you see, I have a couple of notes to self and the review, the series that I watched, the movies that I watched, the music that I liked listening to, my Instagram and YouTube subscribe account, and then some brainstorming of goals that I wanted to do for the next month, as well as positives and negatives. Moods is blank because I didn't know how to do that in this particular journal because I was tracking my moods in mood pixels, and I don't have the same colors. Anyway, on to the next. October is probably my favorite theme for this entire journal. It is a coral theme yet again, but more of an algae theme, I guess you could say. It's a spooky adjacent theme as well, and I really enjoyed doing this theme. Here is the calendar spread that I used for October. I absolutely loved how this turned out, and while I don't really use calendar spreads as much for my monthly logs, I do really enjoy how this one turned out. I apologize for the noise outside. I hope it's not really translating all that much on audio. Then we have my goals page, which I really enjoyed doing, as well as the habits. I reduced the number of habits that I ended up tracking because, as you saw in September, it was way too many and I didn't end up doing any. Again, yoga just wasn't a habit that I got into for 2022, but 2023 is a different story. At least I hope so. We then have the different tasks and events that I had for October. As you can see, it's kind of similar layouts, but really large, bold fonts that I was using for the headers. And then one big thing that happened in October was I joined the Archer and Olive ambassador team, which was super, super exciting. And of course, use Vero10 for 10% off any Archer and Olive products. For week 42 and for future weeks, I ended up changing things a little bit. I went for these kind of layouts where you could time track or time log things that you were doing in the day. I thought it was a good idea at first. It ended up being not such a good idea because I didn't have enough space or didn't really think of anything to write in them. So it was a nice idea to start off with, but I didn't really use it all that much. I also used a cute little Dutch door system here, but Dutch door systems in a B6 journal don't really work that much because you don't have a lot of space to start off with. So that was that. I have my review page for October. So again, I have positives, negatives, brainstorming goals, movies, YouTube, Instagram trackers, series, and I guess I just don't put music anymore because I don't really listen to music all that much. Here was my first attempt at my November cover page. I didn't end up liking it, so I used it as a pen test page as well as a kind of like a junk page or a brain dump page. I really ended up liking specific designs on this page, however, which I reuse for the month of November. This is my November theme, which I mentioned briefly when I was talking in September because I started using dots for the different corals. I really like how these corals turned out and they're super, super nice, and they actually look more like corals than my other designs. As you can see, I went back to the vertical monthly logs system, and this really works for me. I really enjoy looking at it. It looks cool as well. I think everything is nice and collected in one spot. For the habits that I tracked 6 habits this month of November. I feel like I stuck to the habits a little bit more, but again, still not really doing it all that well. I feel like I just kind of let go of my habits for the month of November, October and December, but that is that. In November, I also introduced a master to-do list. I thought this was a great idea. I copied this off Pinterest and I really enjoyed having like the different things on the side, the different goals that I had, the different dates, some statistics that I had, as well as a big to-do list. I ended up changing this in future months because I have different things that I like to do in terms of personal things, Archer and Olive things, diving things, or other things. So having a bigger breakdown is actually a good idea. And as for the goals, well, as you can see, I didn't really do all of my goals. Then for the weeks, I went for structured weekly spreads. They were kind of empty because I was going to Mauritius this month, as you can see. So I didn't really end up filling much of this. Here we go to the last week of November, and as you can see, completely blank. I also have my review page, so again, positives, negatives, and everything else. I wish I would have more things to write in these pages, but I don't really have all that much, so probably reducing the amount of space that I have my review page on is a good idea. Then we move on to December, and this is when I started my Dive Master training. So I started writing notes in this journal, and most of this journal is now dedicated to all of my Dive Master notes, which I think is really cool. We have my color page, so again with a coral theme, but I went with an antler coral theme, so not exactly coral, just to kind of bring it into a Christmas vibe. I also went with a calendar because this entire monthly spread is copied from Harmony's ideas because she does a really cool Dutch door system, which I will flip through in just a second. You have the tasks that you have to do on the bottom, so I separate it by a week, and then I write on the days that I need to do things, and then on the top you have bigger tasks. So as you can see, all of my task areas are linked to my Dive Master training and notes that I have for Dive Master, as well as things that I'm writing to myself about filming videos whilst I'm overseas, which I find really difficult to do because I get really tired. I have lots of blank space still because I'm still using this journal for a travel journal, which I will talk about in another video, as well as for more notes for Dive Master. And I also added in a finance tracker because I started using cash whilst I was here because they use cash in Mauritius a little bit more than they use card. So that was that. On the top, I have the Dutch doors and I have some habits. So what's really cool about this one is it's a horizontal layout, and one thing that I added this month was the number of dives I did per day, and as you can see, it varies between 1 to 2 dives every single day, pretty much for the month of December, which is really, really cool because I love diving. I also tried to track the days that I washed my hair, the days that I drank a full bottle of water, and the days that I did yoga. As you can see, I did not do yoga a single day for the month of December, and then also not eating meat, which I did okay with, considering I'm with my family. Next, we have some goals that I wanted to achieve for December, and I just wrote one, which was swimming before diving, and I managed to do that twice, I think, and then I just kind of stopped because it was the end of the year. Then I have a small mini calendar for December just to track if you're on different pages over here. And lastly, we have archer and olive tasks as well as VeroBujo tasks, and I did a few of those, and I put a tick when I did them and no tick when I haven't done them. Lastly, a small quote on that side, and then my month review, which is very similar to all of the other months as well. I also included a 2022 review, so a review of my entire year in this journal and my entire year in general. I have an entire video of that one on my YouTube channel, so if you do want to check it out, you can click on this link up here or down in the description below. I also did a funky I did a funky calligraphy style for Christmas as well as for the new year, and that is what that looks like. Lastly, we have my travel journal for this journal, which it takes up about the last quarter of the book, and I won't be flipping through that because I'm not done with it, but you will be able to see it in my travel journal flip through video coming in March, I believe. And just to give you a quick sneak peek, there you go. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I will see you next week for another one.